You're sitting at your kitchen table, phone in one hand, calculator app open, and you're doing that thing we all do where we lie to ourselves with math. You just watched a video of some guy saying, "It's only $1,200 a month." Like that's the price of a gym membership and not an entire second rent payment. And you're telling yourself, "Okay, look, I can make $1,200 work. I'll cut back a little. I'll stop eating out. I'll be good." Meanwhile, your brain is already spending the money you haven't earned yet. Because the car is shiny, the seats are heated, it smells like new plastic confidence. And for the first time in a long time you feel like an adult who's winning. And that's the trap. Because the $1,200 car payment isn't just a payment. It's an illusion. It's a magic trick. It's a monthly number hypnosis that makes a $60,000 to $90,000 decision feel like a $40 decision. And if you've ever caught yourself thinking, "Yeah, but I deserve it," or "I work hard," or "I need something reliable," or my personal favorite, "It's an investment," then congrats, you are the exact person this system is designed for. Here's the thing. Dealerships don't sell cars anymore. They sell monthly payments. They sell the feeling of being the type of person who drives that car. They sell identity in a metal shell. And the reason $1,200 can feel affordable is because your brain is terrible at seeing the full monster when it's chopped into little pieces. Like, if I offered you a deal, "Pay me $40 a day, every day, for the next 7 years, you'd say, why would I do that?" But if I repackage it as, "Only $1,200 a month," suddenly you're negotiating like it's normal. That's not because you're dumb. It's because you're human. Humans don't feel the weight of the total cost. We feel the weight of the monthly bite. And the auto industry has gotten insanely good at feeding you a number your emotions can swallow. So let's slow down and do what nobody wants to do in the showroom. We're going to zoom out. Because when you zoom out, the illusion dies. And when the illusion dies, you stop donating your future to a vehicle that will be worth half as much the moment you drive it home. Start with the uncomfortable reality of what normal even is now. The average monthly payment on a new car is sitting around the mid-$700s range, with widely cited benchmarks like $748 for new and $532 for used. And that's average, meaning millions of people are above it. Then you look at what's happening at the high end and it gets nastier. Edmunds has reported that nearly 20% of new car loans have payments over $1,000. $1,000 isn't a little high. $1,000 is a lifestyle. $1,000 is a private school tuition payment. $1,000 is, "I'm one layoff away from a panic attack." But what makes it feel safe is the way the deal is structured. The first lever is the loan term. We used to treat 36 months like normal, 48 months like stretching, 60 months like, "Okay, fine." Now, the modern car loan has turned into a long-term relationship you didn't mean to get into. Experian has shown average terms hovering around the high 60-month range for new and used. And the big affordability pressure valve is 84-month loans, 7 years, which have become shockingly common. Edmunds reported 84-month or longer loans were about 22% of finance new car purchases in Q3 2025, up from the year before. Bankrate echoed that roughly a fifth of new car loan terms are now 84 months or longer. Think about what that means. More than 1 in 5 people financing a new car are signing up to pay for it until the end of the decade. The car industry basically took the mortgage model, make the payment small by making the timeline huge, and pasted it onto an asset that goes down in value. That is backwards. That is like taking a 30-year loan on a carton of milk because it makes the monthly payment feel good. And once the term stretches, The monthly number becomes a dial the dealership can turn to hit whatever your ego wants. You said you wanted to be under $1,200. Okay, we can get you there. That sentence should scare you, because it means the car isn't being chosen based on affordability. It's being chosen based on a target number you emotionally anchored to. And anchoring is one of the strongest psychological traps in money. Your brain hears $1,200 and immediately compares it to your current life. Well, my rent is $1,800, so $1,200 is less than rent, so it must be fine. Or you compare it to your last car. My old payment was $600, so $1,200 is double, but it's also way nicer, so it's fair. But fairness isn't the question. The question is, what does this do to the rest of your life? Because a car payment doesn't live alone. It drags friends. It drags insurance, taxes, fuel, maintenance, tires, brakes, registration, and the little surprise fees that show up like uninvited relatives. And the illusion works because the payment is the only number you stare at in the showroom. Everything else is treated like background noise. Let me show you how this plays out with a real person, because the human part matters more than the math part. Meet Jordan. Jordan is 32, works in operations for a healthcare company, makes $92,000 a year. Not broke. Not rich. Middle class. Normal. Jordan lives in a decent apartment, has a couple subscriptions, eats out a little too much, and keeps telling themselves they'll start investing more when life calms down. Jordan's current car is fine. It's a 10-year-old sedan with 140,000 miles. It's not cool. It doesn't impress anyone. But it starts every morning. Then one week, Jordan's friend pulls up in a new truck/SUV situation. Big, clean, aggressive headlights, the whole thing. Jordan rides in it, and something shifts. The silence inside. The screen. The seats. The way it feels like the car is hugging your insecurity. And Jordan starts scrolling listings at night. Just looking. Not buying. Just looking. Then Jordan walks into a dealership to see what's out there, which is like walking into a casino to use the bathroom. And the salesperson doesn't ask, "What price range are you in?" They ask, "What monthly payment would you feel comfortable with?" That question sounds helpful. It is not helpful. That question is a weapon. Because Jordan says, I don't know, maybe $800? And the salesperson nods like a therapist. We can make that work. Then Jordan sees the one. MSRP is high. But who cares, because the monthly is what matters now. They run the numbers. They stretch the term. They play with down payment. They weigh the trade-in value around like it's free money. They pitch add-ons in monthly form. And after enough time in that chair, Jordan leaves convinced they made a responsible choice because, technically, Jordan can pay $800 or $1,000 or $1,200 as long as Jordan tightens up a little. Here's the reveal. The money you have left over after a little tightening is your future. That's the gap where investing happens. That's the gap where emergency funds happen. That's the gap where you buy freedom. And the car payment eats the gap first. So the real financial mistake isn't buying a car. It's letting a depreciating asset become the main character of your monthly budget. It's letting transportation dictate your retirement timeline. And we can prove it with embarrassingly simple math. If you pay $1,200 a month for 84 months, that's $1,200 times 84. Do it slowly. 1,200 times 80 is equal to 96,000. 1,200 times 4 is equal to 4,800. Total equals $100,800. That's before insurance, before gas, before repairs, before the day you need tires, and you pretend it's fine because you can put it on a card. That's a six-figure commitment disguised as only $1,200. And it gets worse because the only part is usually propped up by average loan rates that aren't cute anymore. Experian has cited average interest rates around the high single digits for new vehicles and much higher for used in recent reports. Even when you see promo rates advertised, those are usually limited and not evenly available, and the market still shows elevated, which means a lot of people aren't paying $100,800 for that $1,200 payment car. They're paying more because interest is the invisible passenger riding shotgun. And the longer the term, the longer interest has time to keep nibbling. This is where people start saying, "Yeah, but I'll just refinance later." Maybe, but later is not a plan. Later is a hope. And hope is not a strategy when your contract is legally binding and your car's value is falling like a rock. That's the next part of the illusion. Depreciation plus long loans create negative equity, where you owe more than the car is worth. That's not a rare edge case anymore. It's baked into the system when people finance big amounts with long terms and smaller down payments. Edmunds has reported average amounts financed in the $40,000 plus range in 2025, showing how much people are borrowing just to get in the car. And once you're upside down, you stop being a customer and start being a captive. Because if you want to get out, you either bring cash to cover the gap or you roll the gap into the next loan. That's how the hamster wheel is built. You trade in a car, but the debt survives and gets reincarnated inside your next payment like a financial ghost. This is why the $1,200 payment illusion is so dangerous. It doesn't just drain money. It drains options. It locks you into your job because you can't breathe without the paycheck. It makes you say yes to overtime you hate. It makes you feel anxiety when your boss calls you into a meeting. It makes you treat your life like a fragile balancing act. And people don't realize they're doing it because the car feels like a reward. It feels like progress. It feels like adulthood. But it's the kind of progress that looks good and moves you backward. There's also a social pressure layer nobody wants to admit. The modern American status symbol isn't a mansion. It's a car you can't believe they approved me for. We normalize this by calling it what things cost now. And yeah, prices have risen, but the real shift is psychological. We started judging affordability by whether the payment fits, not whether the purchase makes sense. The payment fit mindset is how middle-class people accidentally cosplay as upper-class people, and then wonder why they're stressed. And the data around stress is showing up in delinquencies. When payments get high and budgets get tight, the cracks appear. For example, Reuters reported that subprime auto borrowers 60-plus days delinquent hit record territory in October 2025, based on Fitch data. That's not about bad people. That's about math catching up. That's about groceries, rent, insurance, and life happening while a giant fixed payment sits on your chest. And if you zoom out further, the New York Fed's work on household debt and delinquency dynamics keeps highlighting that non-housing debt stress is real in this era. So no, you're not paranoid if a $1,200 payment feels risky. You're actually seeing reality. The illusion is what's fake. Now let's talk about the part that makes this feel affordable in the moment, because this is where the Nick Invest/Fasted Fred psychology first angle really matters. Your brain uses mental accounting. It puts money into buckets. Rent bucket, food bucket, fun bucket, car bucket. And because cars are culturally treated as necessary, we give the car bucket special treatment. We protect it. We justify it. We'll cut from food before we cut from the car. We'll cancel our investing before we downgrade the car. We'll take a second job before we admit we bought too much vehicle. That's not rational. That's pride mixed with identity. The car becomes the proof you're doing okay. And when the car becomes proof, the payment becomes sacred. That's why people will drive a $60,000 vehicle while carrying credit card balances and having $800 in savings. It's not because they don't know savings matters. It's because the car is visible and savings is invisible. The brain is wired to prioritize visible rewards. A car is a trophy you can sit in. A Roth IRA is a spreadsheet you can't feel. So the industry leans into that. They give you the trophy now, and they let future you deal with the bill. Here's a metaphor that makes this painfully clear. Buying a car based on monthly payment is like judging a movie by the first 10 seconds. It's like marrying someone because the first date was fun. The monthly payment is the first date number. It tells you almost nothing about the relationship you just entered. And once you understand that, you can start seeing the affordability theater happening in real time. The dealer asks your target payment. They extend the term to hit it. They encourage minimal down payment, so you keep cash now. They sprinkle add-ons because it's only $30 more a month. They talk about gap insurance and warranties the same way, monthly. They frame everything as small, because small is how humans agree to big mistakes. Then when you hesitate, they deploy the emotional closer. You work hard. You deserve something reliable. You don't want to be stranded. Think about your family. And if you're single, they swap family for safety or career image or you'll look professional. It's always the same play. Attach virtue to the purchase. If you say no, you're not being responsible, you're being cheap. And nobody wants to be cheap. So you say yes. And you don't notice the trade you just made. You traded long-term freedom for short-term identity. Now the surprising reveal most people miss. The $1,200 payment doesn't just cost $1,200. It costs your ability to compound. And compounding is the only cheat code middle-class people have. If you take $1,200 a month and invest it instead, the numbers get insulting. At 8% average annual growth, $1,200 a month over 7 years becomes a serious pile of money. I'm not going to drown you in formulas, but the point is simple. The car payment isn't just money spent. It's money that can't become more money. And that's why it keeps people feeling broke even on good incomes. Because good income, without investable margin, is just expensive survival. And this is the part where people push back and go, okay, but I need a car. Yes, you do. But you don't need a $1,200 a month lifestyle disguised as a car. Transportation is a tool. The moment your tool becomes the thing you serve, you flip the relationship. You're not using the car. The car is using you. So how do you break the illusion without becoming a monk who drives a 1997 death trap? You use rules that are based on total cost and margin, not vibes. Rule 1 is brutally simple. If you have to stretch the loan to 84 months to afford it, you can't afford it. Because what you're affording is the payment, not the car. And the cost of that stretch is you'll be paying for the car during years when the car is older, less reliable, more expensive to maintain, and worth less. That's the danger zone where people get trapped. The payment is still there, and now the repairs show up too. It's like paying a subscription fee for something that also randomly sends you invoices. Rule 2. Never shop by payment. Shop by out-the-door price. Then choose the shortest term you can actually handle without destroying your ability to save. If the payment ends up too high on a reasonable term, the car is too expensive. Not. Maybe. Not. But I really like it. It's too expensive. Rule 3. Protect your margin like it's oxygen. Before you buy, you should be able to cover the payment, insurance, fuel, and a maintenance buffer while still saving and investing every month. Not saving when you can. automatically. If the car prevents that, it's not transportation, it's a wealth blocker. And yeah, people hate hearing that because it sounds like you're telling them they can't have nice things. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you nice things cost margin. If you don't have margin, you don't buy the thing that eats margin. Here's a clean way to think about it. A car should be a background character in your finances. If your car is the main character, your story is going to be stressful. Another move that kills the illusion fast is what I call the two-number test. Number 1 is your monthly take-home pay after taxes and health insurance and whatever actually comes out. Number 2 is your monthly fixed obligations before the car, rent or mortgage, utilities, minimum debt payments, groceries baseline. Whatever is truly non-negotiable. The gap between those numbers is your freedom margin. That margin is where savings, investing, fun, and life live. Now here's the test. If the all-in car cost, payment plus insurance increase plus fuel difference plus a realistic maintenance fund, eats more than half of your freedom margin, you are voluntarily handcuffing yourself. And you will feel it every month, even if you tell yourself you won't. Because life is not a spreadsheet. Life is tires. Life is medical copays. Life is someone's birthday. Life is, my rent went up. A $1,200 payment works on paper until the paper meets reality. And one more important trick, stop thinking in monthly terms only. Force your brain to see the total. If the car payment is $1,200, ask, what is this per year? That's $14,400 a year. Then ask, how many years am I paying? If it's 7, you're looking at $100,800 in payments alone. When you say, $100,000, your emotions finally wake up. Because $1,200 is a snack-sized number. $100,000 is a life-sized number. That's why the system hides it. They don't want you thinking in life-sized numbers. They want you thinking in snack-sized numbers. Now let's address the part where people say, but used cars are expensive now too. Yes, used prices have been elevated in this era, and rates on used can be even higher. That doesn't mean the solution is jumping into a giant new loan. It means you get more strategic. It means you look for the boring, reliable models. It means you stop paying for image and start paying for function. It means you might drive something that doesn't impress strangers for a few years so future you can live like a king. Because here's the irony that will mess with your head. The person in the $1,200 payment car looks rich and feels stressed. The person in the paid-off boring car looks average and feels calm. Calm is the real flex. Calm is what money is supposed to buy you. And this is where I get slightly frustrated because I've watched too many people make the same mistake. They keep trying to solve an income problem with a debt solution. I feel behind, so I need a nicer car. No. If you feel behind, you need more margin, more savings, more investing, and fewer obligations that can't be undone. Debt is not progress. Debt is renting a lifestyle from your future. And the car industry is one of the best lifestyle landlords on earth. They'll happily lease you the feeling of success for $1,200 a month, then repossess it the second life gets messy. And life always gets messy. So here's the actionable plan, in plain language, no motivational poster nonsense. First, decide your financial identity before you decide your car. Are you trying to look wealthy, or are you trying to become wealthy? Those are different goals. Second, pick a car that lets you invest every month, because investing is how you stop being vulnerable. Third, if you already have a big payment, don't panic, but stop pretending it's fine if it's not. Run your numbers honestly. Can you build an emergency fund while making this payment? Can you invest consistently? If the answer is no, then the car is not a little tight. It's a structural problem. Your options are increase income, cut other expenses aggressively, refinance if it truly helps and doesn't extend your captivity forever, or the hard one, sell and downshift, even if it bruises your ego. And yeah, that last one hurts, because it feels like admitting you made a mistake. But here's the truth. The only real mistake is staying in a bad deal because you're embarrassed. Pride is expensive. Fourth, the next time you're in a dealership and someone asks, "What do you want your payment to be?" you say, "I'm shopping by total price, not payment." Watch how the energy changes. Watch how quickly the friendly vibe shifts. Because now you're not an easy target. Now you're dangerous. You can do math. And finally, if you want a simple rule you can remember when your emotions start bargaining, use this. If the car payment makes you delay investing, it's too much car. If the car payment makes you feel like you need a side hustle just to stay afloat, it's too much car. If the car payment would become a crisis the moment you lost your job for 60 days, it's too much car. Because the goal isn't to barely make the payment. The goal is to build a life where payments don't own you. And I want to end with this, because this is the part you need to hear when you're scrolling at midnight. You are not behind because you don't drive something new. You're behind when your money has no room to grow. The coolest car in the world is the one that doesn't keep you trapped. The best upgrade isn't leather seats. It's options. It's sleeping through the night without doing math in your head. It's walking into work knowing you could leave if you had to. That's what wealth feels like. Not the touch screen. Not the badge. Not the sound system. And if you can break the $1,200 car payment illusion, you get something way better than a new car. You get your future back.